Okay, so recently I decided to dig in and try something different. Try something that everyone kind of labeled as pretty much ass. And honestly, I don't know if I have different expectations walking into a game or I just like stuff that's really different. But let's take a moment today to talk about Avowed. Now, I'm going to start right off the bat and say I had no experience with this game walking into the game. The only experience I had with it was seeing pretty much every online reviewer go, ooh, it's not that good. It's kind of bad. Not Obsidian's finest work. Could have been someone else who made it. Blah, 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 blah. And just everything I saw around the online space about it was just everyone just absolutely dogging on it. They liked one aspect of the whole ass game, and the rest of it was shit. Now, I'm inclined to agree there are some things with this game that are not great. I want to just take a minute and get those out of the way right away. Number one, I can side with the people who said enemy variety is ass, but I'd also like to counterpoint that with we celebrated Skyrim since 2011. Todd Howard keeps pumping them out instead of just giving us Elder Scrolls 6, but most of that game is the same 6 Draugr models attempting to kick your ass. The same, in vanilla, 6 dragon types showing up to annoy you. Fucking giants don't have an alternate form. Mammoths don't really have an alternate form except for big or little. You know, we get like 4 dwarven centurion types. One has an alternate type that's just slightly beefier. We get the Falmer and all of their... I don't know how many Falmer there are. Too many. There's too many Falmer. But the case in point is there's not a huge enemy variety in that game either. I mean, you can go one further and say we can compare this shit to other games like Call of Duty and stuff where there's only one enemy type. The Thing over there. I mean, could it have used more enemy types? Yes. Was it lacking so much so that I felt bored walking down the road? No. Kept me fairly entertained. Another huge criticism I saw was people did not like the healing over time function, and I'm gonna shrug my shoulders and say I think it was actually pretty neat. It got me killed a few times because I was too pompous and didn't eat food, or too stupid and didn't go back to a city to just line my pockets with more foodstuffs to carry on me. Definitely happened more when I was in dungeons than anything else, because it'd be like, all right, let's break down all these weapons, let's get all these materials back in my pocket, and where's the food? Didn't pack any. All right. Outside of those criticisms, everyone else seems to agree generally the game itself is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's a newer game, so we're expecting more polygons, more graphics, more colors. But I like the aim they went with in this game. It looks like they took little bits of inspiration from James Cameron's Avatar, and a little pluck of something here is a little bit of a to Bethesda, because I know they've worked with Bethesda on stuff like Fallout New Vegas and Obsid. But it's definitely a pretty adventure game. Is it massive? I don't think I would go that far. The landscapes are sprawling, but they seem kind of dead. Like, you go through all the different areas. You start off in Dawnshire with Paradise after you do the prologue. And it's your regular, here's a castle, here's a temperate forest filled with maples and oaks and shit that you see in most video games. But it makes a really good starting level. It's got rivers, so you learn about, water enemy types. It's got a few small dungeons. It's got, quests that send you off to the weird ass corners that are all broken cliff sides and shit like that, and it feels like a good starting level. Like, the game starts off in the New World. The New World could have been like the shittiest place in history where it's just dust. But that wouldn't have made for a very intriguing walk-in. You know, you start off at the, you know, the tropical island level when you do the introductory. After that, they send you to Dawnshore, to Paradise, to go to the typical normal zone. And then you get sent places like Emerald Coast, which is just a giant jungle swamp. Then you got the Shatterscarp, which is the barren dust and rocks that sucks ass, but it's fair. And then they send you to Galwain's Tusk, which is the Hyper AIDS version of the Shatterscarp and Thirdborn. But all those different locations really showcase a lot of stuff, because, I mean, Dawnshore itself, while it has the castle and, you know, the regular old-ass temperate forest, it also has a lot of cliff sides, little itty-bitty islands, a whole bunch of stuff like that, where it's the water level. Then you get Emerald Coast, which is the earth level, or the swamp level. And everything just feels... It feels like it flows nicely. As for location-wise, within those locations, you know, there's discoverables, there's dungeons, which I guess I did not clear all the dungeons in the game. I thought I did, but maybe I missed one or two here or there. I like that the game gives you agency to literally get off the ship, get into the port of Paradise, and just go. The only thing that game saddles you with as an immediate is your first partner. And honestly, I don't hate that either. Like, I do like games where I can adventure alone and games where I'm not bound to a narrative of someone else to do. But it's also nice to have a game that just throws you companions every now and then. Now, I won't say I'm the world's biggest Obsidian fan, but I've played a few of their games before, including Outer Worlds. And I had to think about that one for a second. Fuck. The companion system in that game is kind of the same, but that one's like, you know, we out in space and shit, which was Starfield before Bethesda managed to fuck up Starfield. It was also Mass Effect, except you weren't trying to sleep with everything. So, I like how Obsidian does their follower system. It's nice to have variations of who does what, different races, etc., etc. And this game has no shortage of commingled races living relatively together. I mean, there's definitely some cities, Solus, that have a tad more racism towards the other races, but all of the races seem to agree on one thing, is that the Godborn, you, was just the most horrible thing they've ever fucking seen. Like, they hate it. They absolutely hate it. And, like, we have, you know, you got your basic human race, elf race, dwarf race. Where the game stands out as far as races goes, they have two additional races. Orlons, which is really small, gnomish, furry things, and then the Rauatoians, which I couldn't really decipher if they were fish people without gills or lizard people without tails. They kind of fill both niches, because their whole lore was like, yeah, they're always found near water. Most living things are always found near water, but okay. And the fact that they have a great navy. They don't have gill appendages, so moot, I guess. I do like that the game gives you options. You don't really have a class-based ability. The most you'll get out of it is some dialogue choices. Picking A race does have race-bound feats, but most of those are just like a skill point attribution, kind of like D&D, which it's nifty that they do that. Is it necessary? No, not really, but it's there. As far as combat is concerned, I feel like you would find your niche with weapons pretty quickly as for what can do what, because the game in the course of that tutorial zone gives you literally every type of weapon the game has to offer, and it's kind of up to you to mix, match, mingle, figure out which ones work for you. I pretty quickly fell into the tome and wand, as I was also the court scholar and an arcanist, so I like to roleplay a little bit with my characters to make them feel how I feel like they should feel. I have since successfully started a second playthrough as a court asshole, and I have banished myself from using the wand and tome. I'm trying a spear and shield build, which is going much differently. So the weapon play is definitely vast in the sense that you tend to prioritize other things in combat just from what weapons you're using. Like, you could carry around 2 little daggers and be a little gremlin and just shank people like it's London and someone asked you directions, you know? You have that opportunity. But you're going to want to bulk your health, or you're going to want to learn how to be a heavy dodger, or weapon parry, yada yada. Stuff like that. With the wand playstyle that I was going for, I mostly just sat back and let my teammates do the jogging in. I will say, just tangenting off here, with teammates, I feel like we got them in almost the correct order. Having Kai as your first character sits well. You know, he's a sword and a pistol user. He is both close range and mid range. He has, distraction moves in his setup to help, draw fire off of you. He has the thing that burns webs conveniently if you're not a wizard or you don't have any tomes that you can, use. So I like that. I feel like getting Maurice second was okay. I mean, it was lore-wise the right choice. Hey, we need a tracker to help track this thing down to maybe get to the next area. When you get tracked into the Emerald Coast and go to Fior Mesiverne, I don't hate that they had very Spanish-Italian people, but it seemed very out of place to have the, I guess, the magical Renaissance with animancy and having it be the actual Renaissance with a bunch of Italians all screeching at each other about what's right and what's wrong. I will definitely say I liked getting all my people up front. I feel like it could have been one person per area and it would have panned out nicer. Getting Giada before getting Yatsli felt off. Like, I understand she wanted to leave her city, etc., etc. Yatsli wanted to explore the world a bit more. So I would have felt better getting Yatsli first and then having someone like Giada show up an area later in the Shatterscarp as like a, oh hey, I was cast out from my city because I was too cool. That would have sat nicer with me. As far as skill points go, choices do matter for your skill points because it unlocks dialect and dialogue options. Like, you can, sit there and lean on your class trait, like, court augur, court arcanist, war hero, etc. They almost always have a dialogue option for that, where it's like, insert here. And if you're talking like, if I was talking to Yatsli, I would have ones for my arcanist background and my high intelligence, and I could talk to her and she'd be like, oh, thank goodness, someone who's actually smart. Which, yay, I guess. I almost want to make the stupidest character possible and see if I could try to get Yatsli to say something stupid back to me, but, it is what it is. I like that they have that everywhere where it's like, you know, hey, you can't pass this zone. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, was God's chosen not allowed here? And they go, oh, you know, based on the stuff growing off your face, I should have seen that coming. Or it's like, oh, hey, we have to go do this. The steel growth's like, no commoners in here. This is the king's land. And you go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that the king's envoy was going to get turned away. And they go, shit. You know, I like that there's dialogue options, or you have, you know, choices that can be made that will have short-term and long-term afflictions to the world. Like, oh, hey, I'm walking through this mine. Oh, this mine is full of Dream Scourge. Hey, once the people get access to gunpowder, it's just going to cause more fighting. What's the easiest option? Blow it up. Did I have to blow it up? No. Did it seem like a good option? Yeah. Or going off of Shatterscarp's missions, when they're like, hey, so that ruin back there, we feel like that's the source of the Dream Scourge, which, spoiler alert, it was part of it, kind of, because there was a real big-ass Audra crystal in there, and, you know, you commune with your deity at it, and then just everything around there, just Dream Scourge everywhere. You barely escape with, you know, your ass cheeks intact, and you're met with your first really, really big choice, which there may have been one sooner to make sure that, you know, Fjord de Severne didn't burn to the ground, but maybe I missed that one. And, you know, you're left with trying to figure out what's the right option. Do you side with the weird skull-faced lady who wants nothing more than to be proven right at all times and be like, yeah, you know what, destroying this really old, valuable ruin would help. What would it cost? Not much of anything. It would literally just destroy the ruin and maybe a few people would die. That might be one way to, you know, stop the Audra, stop the spread of the Dream Scourge. Maybe. You have option B, which Rimgrind, the, like, peak sorceress of the world, and Yatzle can work on a spell to cut off the Audra to stop the spread of the Dream Scourge in the entire Shatterscarp. But you don't know how many people will just die. Could be anyone. Anyone, anywhere. Just dead. Someone. I personally went with the sacrifice a bunch of people to not destroy the cool-ass temple of my peoples, since you learn in Vicarious Manners that your peoples were the ancient peoples who built these beautiful kind of wiener-shaped temples. And you're like, you know what, I'll save it. You save it, and then you end up killing a whole bunch of the Steel-Garrote legionnaires, and you end up killing a whole bunch of people in the Thirdborn city, and you step back in the city, and the first thing that happens is the city's mayor-in-chief is just like, really? That was your choice? Cool. Get the fuck out of my city. Leave. Never come back. They don't actually do anything to enforce you not coming back. It's just more of like, she don't want to talk to you. That's it. Most times the short and or long reaching effects aren't really felt, but one of the longest reaching effects I had was sparing the dude from the Thieves Guild who kills you. Doesn't kill you, kills you. Instead of just killing him on the spot, you could be like, hey, let's chat this out. And he goes, oh yay, perfect. I love that. You run into his band of thieves, and I guess I wouldn't call them thieves. Rebels. Like 4 or 5 times after seeing him. Like there's like one random person just hurdy-dirty-dirting around the backside of Fjord de Severne, and they'll be like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. You let him live, but we ain't cool. You go about your day. There's another one where right at the end of the time in Fjord de Severne, they send you to go get some food supplies because everyone's starving. And you run into a whole bunch of the rebels from Paradis, and it's like, hey, You spared him, so, like, we'll hear you out. And if you're like, hey, you know, you should really give that food back. And they're like, hey, look, we're going to die out here if we do not have this food. And you just kind of shrug and say whatever. You know, they'll keep being cool with you. You see them at least one more time in the future. I forget where. And they just kind of look at you and they're like, whatever. This doesn't concern us. Like, that is the longest reaching effect I felt in the entire game. I always did what I thought to be best in the interest of my god or deity, as my deity had shown me that they meant no actual harm, and while a lot of the backstory in the early part of the game tries to push you towards, hey, yeah, you're this deity's godkin. Cool. Who's my deity? No one knows, and they're an asshole. It's like, oh, great. And the more you do for your deity, it definitely looks in the beginning like your deity was just absolutely the worst. And then they hit a redemption spike for a bit there. Right up until, like, Galawain's Tusk. Once you reach the Galawain's Tusk part of the arc and you start going to, like, the garden, then you start to see through the cracks a little bit more about your deity, and you're like, oh, you did this. This is all you? Everything that's wrong with this world is you. Why? Why? And you kind of have to sit on your decision and think about it, because you could help the, you know, Steel Garrote destroy your god. You could just destroy your god. You can free your god, but on limitations. You can just let your god run free. And it's so many different options for things you can do. You can also build trust or delete trust between your god. I mean, on my second playthrough, I am actively ignoring my god and just telling him to shut the fuck up. I don't need your help. Do not give me any talents or gifts. Piss off. I am denying my god. And the conversations at night are much different. They shift from trying to understand happiness, freedoms, etc. to thinking of, you know, extinctions, oppressions. It is a wildly different game when you play it not with the tone of thinking your god might be okay. When you play the game and the first things you have to say to your god are, piss off, I hate you, the game changes drastically. Like, I've been choosing the more evil dialogues in situations, or asking for money in situations that it seems wrong to, or just turning people into the authorities. It feels weird. It feels real weird. Like, actively telling people that I'll just do it myself, or I don't need your help, or leave, or I don't like picking the bad dialogue options, and it's real difficult to keep up with. As far as I'm concerned for this game, I'm not going to say it's like, oh, a masterpiece, 10 out of 10, you know. Comparing it to Skyrim is apples to oranges. They're in the same category, they function relatively similar, but they are not the same game. You gotta kind of divorce your mind from the games we look at nowadays and the games we like to play comparison with. Like, if you tried to compare Grand Theft Auto to Avowed, you're going to have almost no similarities other than the graphics are more stable and there's less polygons. I can definitely say the game is worth its sale price. I would find worth in buying it at full price personally, because games like that where you can just say, I want to be this kind of character with this kind of build and that kind of backstory, and you do something completely different from the other times you played it, you'll get more than its overall cost. I mean, top cost I think is $60, and if we're doing the dollar to hour ratio, I already got half of that out of my first playthrough, and albeit I think I got the game for like 20 or $25. And I know there's those people, apes, $25 too much for that game. Dude, just go play Dark Souls and be unhappy, alright? Like, not everything has to be Call of Duty, not everything has to be NBA, 2K, whatever the fuck they're on. Not everything has to be Skyrim. Games having their own sense of individuality is what makes them nice. I think this game has a lot of solid positives, and honestly, overall rating, I would give it a 9.2 out of 10. Like, it's a really good game. It's got stuff that you can do different every time. I mean, my first time around the map in the first area I went to in Dawnshore, I just let the ADHD take over and I just fucked about, walked around the map a bit. I ended up killing, I think, 2 bounties from the bounty board before I even knew there was a fucking bounty board. I thought they were just named people. And it was like, oh, you pick something up, cool. Maybe it's a rare crafting material for some bullshit. Nope, bounties. You know, I like it. I like it a lot. Game has side quests. Game doesn't make you repeat side quests over and over to try and farm materials. If you need something, you could just go out in the nature and kill it. Like, the game, it doesn't hold your hand. The game wants you to figure it out, and I like that. I like games that don't, like, stick a quest marker and strap it to everything. Do I need it sometimes to find my way around new parts of the map? Sure. And that's why I put up my own personal markers, so I can follow them. I like that feeling of beauty, like the wonder that the game gives you from walking around in a forest where it's lush, beautiful green, and then suddenly fucking mushrooms. Massive fucking mushrooms, or like a sprout of coral bloom. Hey, you're in a cave. The cave is dark. What's inside this cave? Giant glowing blue sponges. Like, being able to have the good old-fashioned Obsidian dialogue choices matter, beautiful artistry, backgrounds, just land masses, everything. Decent enough enemy variety, and I get it, could be better. Like, you're getting the package for the price on this one. It's not a game that has too many failings. The failings it has is if you don't know how to play a dialogue-based game. And you know what? It's not for everyone. Another failing, enemy types. I've said it like 5 times now. I get it. There's definitely a strong suit for that. But, like, honestly, I think this is a game that most people should try playing. If you don't want to commit to playing Baldur's Gate and having turn-based stuff, yada yada, this is a good alternative. If you've played Skyrim and you like the structure of Skyrim and just being able to, you know, go around and do stuff randomly, this game is also for you. Will it be for everyone that's played either of those? No. But it'll be nice. Hopefully I'll have more content coming up soon. I will see you guys on the next one.